is going on, everyone? We are back with another In Search of Darkness reaction. I'm Depraved.
I'm Hellcat.
And together we are...
Hella Depraved.
And Hella Horror. Something like that.
Alright, this is a review of Motel Hell.
Motel Hell.
Which honestly sounded super cheesy in the documentary, like the way that they portray it and everything, and like the little clips they show.
If you guys watched our review of Fade to Black,
this is the complete
Motel
opposite.
Hell did the exact opposite. It was a movie that we were going to watch because it's in the documentary, and that was the only reason it was going to happen.
Our expectations were subverted.
Because the movie looked stupid.
Right.
And then we watched it, and it's one of the best movies we've seen so far this year. And it's not even from this year.
I mean, like,
but
it's not the best, but it is it's
one
high up there. Yeah. We're happy that we actually had to buy this one.
Yeah, we had to buy it. It was the only way for us to watch it without commercials.
Yeah, we'll watch again.
But yeah. Go ahead and hit him with the plot, baby.
So, I mean, how do you even, like, because it sounds... Okay, so the synopsis would just be that there is a motel that's run by a brother and a sister in a small town that, I guess people kind of sort of go missing and nobody notices really. I
wonder if it feels kind of like the plot of House of a Thousand Corpses.
Kind of.
People come visit Captain Spaulding and then he sends them over here and they die.
It's a whole like trap and bait situation. They don't just wait. It's not like the Bates Motel. They don't just wait for people to check in. Like, he's out there
hunting
trapping
people.
them. Yeah, like, you know, setting legit bear traps to send their cars off, or shooting out their tires on their motorcycles, or
and that's not even including
cows. Fake cows was funny.
The occasional time that that only happened once in this movie, but the occasional times that people actually do stay at the hotel.
Right, that he
motel.
Doesn't like.
That he kills off.
So I don't know how they make any money, but that's neither here nor there. But it's a long time established motel. Like, they grew up in this place. So they end up, or he ends up, in one of his hunts, keeping one of the victims in the hotel. Like, decides she's pretty, basically. And that...
I think it's...
undoes everything, basically.
He's kind of thinking, in my opinion, he would be interested in her basically taking over the family business.
I don't know that he wanted her to take over so much as to give him kids that would take over, but definitely be involved in. And
because so basically,
he provides smoked meats to the community.
He provides smoked meats made of mixed humans and other.
Well, he says it's pork.
Other stuff, but no, he doesn't sell it as humans, but just smoked
pork.
Meat.
Yeah, and it's a special family recipe, and that was the strangest little twist, because we've definitely
and then his little brother.
I mean, like,
is a cop
here's
in the town.
The thing: you have like, Leatherface and his family. Like, we've seen cannibalistic killers before, but not like this. Because he plants them live. Like, he slits their voice box so they can't scream. Plants them straight down with their head out. Keeps a bag over their head most of the time. And then he tube feeds them. Like, he is literally plumping them up with his special mix to taste right and be plump, to be slaughtered whenever he deems them
ready to go.
And that was the straight, like, so he has this little garden, and all you see are like all of these bagged heads, and you're like, oh, well, that's different.
It's a secret garden too. It's got like the secret entrance.
So he and his sister
and what's funny is, up to a certain point, you don't necessarily know if his sister's involved, but you kind of do. Like, you definitely suspect it.
Oh, absolutely, yeah.
But she doesn't ever mention anything.
It's not overt, yeah.
And she doesn't talk about it with him privately until she walks into the garden and then bends down and starts talking to one of the heads.
Right.
And then you're like, oh, okay, so we do know
for
sure now that she's a part of it. And then you start to go, well, maybe the brother's a part of it.
And his younger brother is the sheriff. and is definitely one of his huge fans in terms of his smoked meats. He's definitely skeevy, like a little on the, non-consensual.
A little on the snuggle struggle side.
Right. Because he goes after the same chick that he kept at his hotel. So both brothers are into her. And that is what breaks everything down. She is going to marry the brother that owns the motel, that runs the smoked meats.
By the way.
Willingly. Not knowing about the smoked meat thing.
Right.
And the sheriff is so jealous of his older brother getting married to this woman that he thinks he's in love with, who he has already tried to struggle with when she clearly said no. Busts in on her in the bathtub when she clearly said no. So obviously he's this great guy. That he does all of this research into missing people and realizes that his siblings are killing people.
So he had no clue.
Right.
He didn't even know he was eating people.
Right. He didn't seem all that put out by it either.
No.
But it's just one of those things that, of course, the damsel in distress is the one that brings down the entire operation, which honestly I thought was kind of fun.
Well,
not that part. I thought the operation was kind of fun.
Then we get this amazing fight between the brothers, where the farmer brother has this huge pig head on, wielding a chainsaw. And I'm like, this is the wildest fucking thing I have seen in any of these 80s movies yet.
And then the sheriff brother is trying to get his chainsaw to even turn on. I'm like, dueling chainsaws. You guys realize the second they hit each other, like, it'd be over.
Now, the only similarity this movie has with Fade to Black is both of them had the same idea of trying to add comedic moments in to a serious horror movie. But this is a prime example of the plot is so sound.
Oh, this one.
Absolutely. The comedy works mixed in with the horror.
And here's the thing. If you guys have not seen this and you go to see it and you're like, man, this is... They said this was great and it's slow moving and it plays itself out much more like a Hitchcock movie. It is a sound plot. It's a story. It's involved. It's like... The little details are what makes the end so satisfying. It's not a quick-moving slasher movie.
No.
Like, this is a drama horror.
But when it goes...
It goes off.
It goes off the rails.
Off. But it was fun. It was so fun. There's, there's all of the elements that just make this fantastic. Like, the people that annoy you die. They definitely... die.
Well, yes and no.
I wanted the sheriff brother to die, but
the people in the movie, like the main characters, the ones that annoy you die, but the garden at one point escapes the garden. One guy manages.
How?
Well, no, because you kept looking away at your phone and stuff, so there were parts that you missed. So he was like moving his arms underneath because he had just enough wiggle room, and he got his arms out. So then he digs himself out.
I saw that part.
And then he starts digging out the other people.
But they're buried with their arms straight down, so like that must have... Anyway, he ended up dying.
The guy that got himself out did.
Yeah.
But the rest of them
are somewhere.
Are still somewhere to this
Looking
day.
like Night of the Living Dead with their voice boxes cut, just traipsing
and
around.
That's the next thing that I never...
That's fun!
It's fun, but it was another thing that was so goofy that I just didn't understand. Yes, you can't talk to people because your voice box is slit. So, everything's coming out. And you're gargling and shit, right? But they made them zombie-like, and truthfully, they wouldn't be zombie-like. They wouldn't be like...
Yeah, they kind of would have been, depending on how long... Their muscles would be atrophied. Like, they'd be pretty... Like, no matter how well-fed they were, their muscles, if you are in one position and not moving, will atrophy. Now, would they have been, drooling into... Probably not, no. But it was still fun.
They get their revenge on the sister.
They do get the revenge on the sister. I mean, it's just...
It's so much fun. And
then for him, like, his ending words to be like, I used preservatives in my meat. That's the only thing he regrets, and that's fucking fantastic. You do you. You do you, boo. That was like... But, like, the whole thing, like, him setting all of these cool ass traps and being like, I like bringing out my artistic side with his traps. And then and then there's like the secret garden, and then there's, you know, like I don't know, the couple that checks into the hotel is a dom and a submissive, and they think that the brother and sister are joining them for sex play. And they're like, yes, tie me up. And they're legit tying them up to transport them to the garden. And the lady, like, is the worst. Honestly, she deserved to go. The worst kind of client. She pulls out her whip, and next thing you know, she has destroyed, like, the painting on the wall, the
knocked over
bedside
mirrors,
lamp, in the motel.
No.
You're like, this is how you... Wow.
And then, the way they do finally kill the people, when they do kill them, they basically tie nooses to the back of a tractor and tie it around their necks. And then drive forward just enough to break their necks. But then somehow, as soon as the necks are broken, driving forward a little bit more just starts to pull them out of the holes. That was like the biggest question mark I had. Like, wouldn't it...
It kind of would.
I don't know. I'd think that they'd just rip their fucking heads off.
They just take him to slaughter like they would the hogs, and, you know.
But yeah, it's a super, super fun movie.
Acting was stellar.
The acting was stellar. So Rory plays Vincent, which is the older brother. This was
connoisseur of the smoked meats, the owner of the motel.
This was Rory's last movie, if I remember hearing correctly. He had had cancer at the time.
Oh, but it was so good. Yeah. You got Paul Linke as his younger brother, the Sheriff Bruce Smith. Nancy Parsons as Ida Smith, the sister that is in the know. Nina Axelrod as Terry, so she was the rescued damsel in distress that causes the rift between the brothers because she's helpless and blonde, and that's what they do.
Right.
And honestly, everybody else is sort of a secondary character. Those four are the main event, as it were.
Right. And no other major names that I'm familiar with either.
Yeah.
Yeah, again, acting was phenomenal. Okay, and now going into special effects. Really well done.
Yeah.
Again, not over the top, and it was gory.
Right.
But not like gory, not unnecessarily gory. It was gory when it needed to be.
There wasn't like blood spatter everywhere. There wasn't more blood than a wound would actually produce. Most of the time, I mean, their victims were alive.
Right.
So, other than the incision for the throat, they were alive.
And they only actually ended up killing, I think 6 total people died in this movie.
Really?
The 3 people that he pulled out of the ground.
That's true.
The one guy that got out on his own before releasing other people because he was the original boyfriend of the main girl.
Right.
And then the old man and the sister.
Okay, you're right.
I think those were the only 6 that did actually die, that we got to see die.
Right.
I'm not saying that the other zombie folk didn't die.
Or anybody else, yeah. So, and Ida technically was not dead at the end. She was buried head first, so she would have been...
She would have suffocated eventually.
Right. First rain. Anyway, it was fantastic. And you find out why...
I forgot to talk about the health inspector.
Well, yes.
Who, the first time you see him, he's the only person in this entire movie that suspects something.
Yeah, he's the inspector for the hogs to make sure that the meats are what they claim they are.
Right. He's the only one that suspects something is going on. And when he first starts to get a little nosy, Vincent busts out of the door and scares the shit out of him.
But just very calmly asks, was there something else?
And so he leaves and then comes back
that night
and finds the secret garden.
Right.
And then is in turn himself captured and planted and turned into...
Right.
Deservedly so. You would have been left the fuck alone if you would have just came, did your job, and fucking left.
Well, and he was also not particularly nice. It's not just like he was nosy and suspicious. It was like he was not a nice person.
And let me help you guys out with this. I'm not saying he deserved it for being nosy in terms of him going back to inspect it. He did legally part of what he should have done, but he should have went back with help, with other people.
He legally should have.
He should have got the cops and been like, hey, I think something's going on here. We need to go investigate it.
Or at least brought another couple inspectors with him to do a wider search, and legally he would have had the rights to go into the slaughterhouse, not just the hog pen. So, I mean, yes, but on the other hand, it was just fun how it played out.
Yeah.
So. Yeah.
But yeah, so with that being said, baby.
I give this probably, oh God. I'm going to give this 4.5 skulls.
You give it skulls?
Well, are we?
I only needed the skulls for the first one because I got to edit that tonight
Pig's
to put it
heads.
up tomorrow. You're doing pig's heads?
Yes.
Fuck. All right. That's what I was going to do.
Do it.
I'm going to go. Well, what's super funny, by the way, is this is going to be the first time since the 5-star movie that you and I have the exact same score in a movie.
Oh, well, that's fun. So do pig's heads.
So I'm going to do 4.5 out of 5 chainsaws.
Okay.
Because they go with the pig's heads.
Okay. I mean, like, that is true.
4.5 out of 5 chainsaws. Fantastic movie. I definitely say give it a shot if you have not seen it, even if we just ruined the entire movie for you.
Right.
It's worth watching. Trust me when I say most of these movies, even if it's our first time watching it, we go into it mostly knowing what's going to happen because we watch these documentaries and they're talked about.
They don't necessarily give away like the very ending, but again, don't go into this thinking current day slasher in terms of how quickly it moves. It is a building sort of more horror drama.
Right.
But it's worth investing your time in. Yeah.
All right, that is going to do it. If you guys like the video, smash the like button, subscribe, and we love you, and we hope we see you depraved people later. Bye.